You need to do it here as well.
No, that's just not mine.
All right.
They should be starting some.
Okay, here I have this one. No, you can see.
If you exit that job, everyone's
Okay, no, I'm fine. All right. Can you hear me, Council? Can you? Yes. Okay, you're on mute. And Mr. Lucero, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay, good.
Morning, how are you?
Good morning. Sorry about the delay. Ms. Robles, can you hear me?
What was that?
All right. No, I asked Ms. Robles. She's a court reporter. Yeah,
Okay.
this latest delay had to do with we need to make it lawful. We have to have anybody in the public being able to tune in. So nobody does, but nonetheless, we need to make
Right.
sure. So anyway, we finally got it after all this. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So this is the case 2021 PRB 0008 in the estate of Ramon Cesar Cantu, deceased. And this is probating the will and authorizing letters of testamentary. So with that, Council, I'm going to turn it over to you, and we can certainly, you want to go ahead and swear Mr. Lucero in, Ms. Robles?
Mr. Lucero, please raise your right hand to be sworn in. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Council.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I would ask that the court take judicial notice of the original will, the death certificate, and the return of citation by posting that have been filed in this cause.
Yes, and we can enter them as exhibits, I guess, 1, 2, and 3.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Go ahead. Yes, noted.
Thank you. Mr. Lucero, would you please state your full name and address for the court?
Gilberto Lucero, also known as Gilbert Lucero. Address is 12339 County Road 25, Raymondville, Texas.
And did Ramon Cesar Cantu die on February 17th, 2021 in Raymondville, Texas?
Yes, sir.
And did Mr. Cantu reside in Willacy County at and before the time of his death?
Yes.
Have 4 years passed since Mr. Cantu's death?
Yes.
Your Honor, do we have the original will, or would you
No.
like for me to pull it up?
Oh, question number 4. 4 years have not gone by yet.
4 years have not passed.
Right. No.
Okay.
Your question was, Council? I'm sorry.
Will the court be demonstrating the will, or would you like for me to pull it up?
Yes, we have the will here, and we can allude to it if you have a copy of it.
Okay, one moment. Okay. Mr. Lucero, there has been a will filed for probate in this case that is dated July 6, 1983. Are you familiar with that document?
Yes.
It is at the last will and testament of Ramon Cantu.
Yes.
To your knowledge, did Mr. Cantu ever revoke that will?
No.
And was there a child born to or adopted by Mr. Cantu after the will was made?
No.
And did Mr. Cantu have a marriage dissolve after the will was made?
No.
Is the state of Texas or any charity a beneficiary under Ramon Cantu's will?
Yes.
And is that beneficiary St. Jude Children's Research Hospital?
Yes.
Is there a necessity for the administration of Ramon Cantu's estate?
Repeat that again, please?
Does a necessity exist for the administration of Ramon Cantu's estate?
Yes.
And does the will appoint you to serve as independent executor without bond?
Yes.
Have you ever been convicted of a felony?
No.
Have you ever been adjudicated to be mentally incompetent?
No.
Do you intend to make a claim against the estate of Ramon Cantu?
No.
Is there any reason why you should be disqualified or found unsuitable to serve as independent executor?
No.
I have no further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
And neither do I, counsel. I did look over the documents. I find no reason why Mr. Gilbert Lucero Jr. should not be the administrator of the estate of Mr. Ramon Cesar Cantu. And therefore, I am signing the order to grant Mr. Filiberto Lucero Jr. as independent executor, and furthermore to for us to issue letters of testamentary and without bond, as alluded to by the wishes of deceased Mr. Ramon Cesar Cantu.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would the court like testimony from our other witness as to the execution of the will?
If they are on, yes, since they did have put the effort forth to be on, absolutely.
Okay, the witness is Carol Polachek. I don't know if you see her in the waiting room.
I do
No.
not. What's that? That if she's on the iPhone, I don't know if she can hear us. I don't see anyone on there. Do you? Okay. I guess we can't. Then. Admit, yeah, go ahead. We're trying to see if that's her because it doesn't say a name on there.
Okay.
There she is. Okay. Can you unmute me? We can see her now, Counselor. I don't know if you can.
Ms. Polachek, can you unmute yourself? There you are.
All right, there we go. Okay, go ahead, Counsel. I don't know if she's able to.
I hear you.
Oh, okay, good.
All right. Ms. Polachek, could you please state your name and address for the court?
Carol Robinson Polishek, 11316 Fern County Road 225, Raymondville, Texas, 78580.
Your Honor, excuse me, would you like me to swear in the witness?
Yes, let's go ahead and do that to make it official.
Ms. Polachek, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
And Ms. Polachek, one more time, if you could, your name and address for the court.
Repeat it. Is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Carol Robinson Polishek, 11316 Fern County Road 225, Raymondville, Texas, 78580.
And did you know Ramon Cesar Cantu during his lifetime?
Yes, I did.
And there has been a document filed with the court which purports to be his will. Are you familiar with the document we're referring to?
Yes, I've heard about it. And yes,
Did you sign this document as a witness to the will?
Yes, I did.
And did you do so at the request of Ramon Cantu?
Yes, I did.
And was Ramon Cantu in your presence when you signed it?
Yes, he was.
At the time that you signed the will as a witness, were you at least 14 years of age?
Yes.
And are you entitled to any property under the will?
No, I'm not.
Did Ramon Cantu ask the other witness, Francine Robinson, to sign the will as a witness?
Yes.
And did she in fact sign that will in his presence?
Yes.
Were you personally familiar with Francine Robinson?
Yes, she was my mother.
And at the time that your mother signed the will as a witness, was she at least 14 years old, 14 years of age?
Yes.
And is your mother entitled to any property under the will?
No.
At the time that Ramon Cantu signed the will, was he at least 18 years old?
Yes.
And at the time that Ramon Cantu signed the will, was he of sound mind?
Yes.
That's all I have for this witness, Your Honor.
Okay. No questions for Ms. Polachek, other than thank you for doing that to our beloved Mr. Cantu.
I know. We had him for a teacher, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Nonetheless, Counsel, Mr. Lucero, I've signed the order, and Counsel, I'm sure you'll get with the county clerk to get the letters of testamentary.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So with that, Mr. Lucero, Ms. Polachek, anything we can help you with, we're here to help you out.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all we have. May we be excused?
You're excused, yes, sir.
Thank you. Have a good
That
day.
includes me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
you so much.
thank you.
Yes, and I guess he can come in here. And he's got, I think, his clients as well.
Morning, Judge.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
It's a pleasure
So-
to be here. You know, as I get older, Judge, I don't look at all my emails, but sometimes I look at them and I don't understand them. So I apologize for not having
Not a problem.
checked on it, that this was a Zoom hearing. Is your Zoom back up or not?
Finally, we got it
Finally.
back up. Yes, it was. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No, I'm good. I'm good. This shouldn't take long.
Yes.
Let me just make sure my video is gonna be.
I did give notice to opposing counsel, Israel Ramon, but I've never heard back from him. And his email address that's on the, I guess, the court's docket
Mhm.
is different. I called his office when I filed a motion about a month ago, I guess. And I got a new email address from him, and I sent him the motion and the order sent it.
Okay, and let's see. We don't have him on, right? We don't have any other party,
Well,
or do we?
Your Honor, may I have that attorney's name, please?
Go ahead, Counsel.
Ruben Peña.
Oh, thank you.
No? Okay. Do you have the document? I think? Okay, so this is case number 2014 PRB 0013. And I have on the docket, this is to reactivate the case, I believe, Counsel.
I think we are.
Can you, yes, can you kind of explain what is the purpose
Today's hearing-
of your filings? Yes, sir.
Yes, today's hearing, the court had, back in 2014, appointed Jose Joey Garcia as the dependent administrator. And since that time, he's never filed an annual accounting. So our motion is to order him to prepare the annual accounting as required by law within 30 days. And also he removed, backtrack a little.
Okay,
Give you a little bit of background here.
sure.
And I'll try to be brief there. This is, what occurred was, Mr. Garcia and my client, Mr. Martin,
Mhm.
are stepbrothers.
Okay,
Okay, so when Mr. Martin's mother, Cipriana Garcia, whose probate is before you,
right,
or the probate issue is before you, Cipriana Garcia then went ahead and prepared a deed and left the home that she lived in to Mr. Martin. Mr. Garcia was named dependent administrator, decided that that she didn't know what she was doing. So we actually had a trial, a jury trial, and we prevailed.
okay,
And so we were able, unfortunately, by that time, Mr. Garcia, who'd been named as the administrator, had removed all the personal possessions from the house. And so by the time we were able to establish ownership, he had removed that. And since then, he's removed it without the court's permission to another county where he lives. I believe he lives in Border, Texas, West Texas. So the purpose of today's hearing is to ask the court to order him to prepare the annual accounting as required by law. And since he did not seek permission, as you well aware, Judge, dependent administrators have required to do it. If they sell anything, if they remove stuff from the jurisdiction of the court, they need to come and ask permission. And we looked at the filings in this court, and none of that has been done. So the two things that we're requesting from the court is that the court order that Mr. Garcia prepare and file within 30 days the 2014 through 2020 annual accounts, and that he return all the personal properties that he's removed without permission. And I've prepared an order and filed it this morning. And that's basically what we're here for.
okay,
Requiring the dependent administrator to do what he's required to do.
okay. And I don't think I've seen the order, but
The
nonetheless.
order I just submitted this
Oh, you
morning.
just, okay. Let me just tell you where I'm at. I did go over the file. I did read where it went to district court. I did read that on the final judgment, the district judge alluded specifically to the property and identified it by the physical address. And I'm assuming that that property is the same as what you're bringing up, that there was some things taken from there.
The personal property, yes, sir.
So and I'll be upfront with you. I went through this file this morning. So it wasn't as if I had a lot of time to, but what I'm kind of debating and looking into
Sure.
is the part of Mr. Garcia submitting inventory and what have you falls under county court. The fact that I think on the final judgment, the district judge asked for that property to even be removed from the estate, or the estate of which Mr. Garcia would be an administrator of, right? So I'm thinking that the part of him taking property and so forth would fall under the district judge, since the district judge had that final judgment. However, on the part of the inventory and what have you, I am prepared to sign such an order, because you're correct. Mr. Garcia should have done that. So let me look through the order that you prepared, and I will certainly, if it's the right court, the right jurisdiction, then obviously I would sign it.
And you will see in the order itself, there's two parts to it. One
Okay.
is the annual accounting, and the other is the return of the property. And so if you want to, you can strike the second part, unless you want me to submit it.
But let me research it,
Certainly,
and then I can certainly, now what I would like to do is reschedule.
certainly.
And I understand that it's probably time is of the essence, because I think once things get removed, they either continue to get removed or so forth. So I
Probably,
sympathize. So
it probably has been either sold, given, we
Right.
don't know. And that's, and there were certain pieces of property in there, quite frankly, that Mr. Marroquin's mother had specific, well, that Mr. Marroquin had actually purchased personally for his mother. And those were items that he wanted returned to him.
sure.
However, you know, the issue related to personal properties is, it may well be that you're correct. I'll go back and take a look as well. We certainly can reschedule that portion, but if you would look at the order, if you'll have Cheryl contact me if you want a new order that specifically just says that, I'd be happy to do that.
All right. Okay. Yes, we'll do that. So
And then you can reschedule this if you think it's necessary.
yes, sir. And we'll notify you,
All right.
or if there's any other documents that would need to be filed.
And I will take a look at that final judgment
Okay.
again, Judge, and just so that I can clear my head. It's
Yes,
been a long time.
I read it briefly, counsel. So I might be incorrect, but since it's specified in the final judgment, I'm thinking that that's where it would fall. But nonetheless,
Okay.
let
we'll
me-
take a look at that as well.
yes, sir.
And then
Appreciate it.
I'll communicate to Cheryl.
Okay.
And by the way, Judge, I want to commend Cheryl. She's been very, very helpful. They communicate with my office and are able to provide me, this is what you need to do, no opinion.
Yeah. No.
And I tell not only your staff, but the staff of the other probate courts, that lawyers really need a lot of help, especially older ones.
Well, so do judges.
We're not as technology, savvy as some of the younger ones.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to point out that she is.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for
With that,
your
Judge,
comments.
we have nothing further. You'll let Cheryl know if you want a different order, just let me know and we'll prepare it.
Yes, sir.
Today or tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you so
With
much.
that, we
And
excuse-
yes, sir. And again, sorry for the delay.
I understand technology sometimes is great, but it
Yes.
doesn't always work.
Yeah. Mr. Marroquin, thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm sorry for the delay. Yes, sir. Gracias. Yes, sir. You're excused. Good to see you, Mr. Marroquin. Okay, so we have, Gilberto Garcia, right? No,
Yes, this will be the.
okay, let's see.
Now we will 21, PRV 9.
Oh, okay, so this is actually the wrong file. Okay, so in this one, let's see how that big. This one. Let's see. Yes. Okay.
Everybody?
Yes. Oh, there he is. This one, this one. Okay, so we're good. Okay. Council Lopez, can you hear me? Okay, you're on mute. Okay. Council Keith Hart, can you hear me? Keith
Oh,
Hart.
good morning, Your Honor. Yes, sir, I can.
Okay, good.
I think I got it, Your Honor.
Okay, there you go, Council.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Okay, and Ms. Garcia, Ms. Jessica Garcia, I know you're on mute, but can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. Okay. And let's see. Okay, so this is in the estate of Gilberto J. Garcia, deceased in his adjustment, declaring heirship and order authorizing letters of independent administration. So with that, I did go through the file, and I know we have Ms. Council Lopez as the attorney ad litem. So Council Keith Card, I'm gonna turn it over to you, and I believe Ms. Robles can swear in Ms. Garcia at this time.
Ms. Garcia, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an application for determination of heirship and for appointment of an independent administrator by agreement. Your Honor, this morning I have asked my paralegal, Rosemary Kithcart, to sit in on the hearing. She is also my wife, just coincidentally, but that's why she's here, Your Honor, and I appreciate your allowing her to watch the proceedings.
Sure.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good to meet you, Ms. Kithcart.
I have three witnesses this morning, Your Honor. The first is my client, Jessica Garcia, who will testify live. I have two other witnesses who have answered depositions on written questions, and I will introduce their testimony after I've completed my examination of Ms. Garcia.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I proceed?
You may, yes, sir.
Thank you. Jessica, would you please state your full name for the record?
Jessica Lynn Garcia.
And we filed this application under the name Jessica Garcia without your middle name. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you are the applicant and you have, as I've stated to the court, requested that the court find you to be the sole heir of your recently deceased father and to appoint you as independent administrator of his estate. Is that correct?
Yes.
First of all, you reside in Lyford and Willacy County, is that right?
Yes.
And before your dad passed away, that was where he resided also?
Yes.
Okay. Now, your father died July the 30th of 2020, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you have in front of you a copy of his death certificate, the original of which we have filed with the court?
I do.
And at the top right corner of that, you can see that it shows his date of death to be July 30, 2020. Is that right?
Yes.
Is that a true and correct copy of his death certificate?
It is.
Your Honor, I don't know if the court would want me to ask the court to admit the original into evidence, or will the court simply take judicial notice of the death certificate?
We can certainly put it in as Exhibit 1, Counsel.
Okay, I offer it as Exhibit 1, Your Honor.
All right. Noted and
Thank you, Your Honor. Jessica, the decedent, and if you don't mind, I'll call him Gilbert. It's just easier for me. He was your father, is that right?
Yes.
And at the time he passed away, was he a single person?
He was.
And your mother, she and your dad were married for quite a length of time before she passed away, is that right?
Yes.
And she died on March the 8th of 2016, is that correct?
Yes.
And do you have in front of you a copy of her death certificate?
I do.
And can you identify that to the court as being a true and correct copy of the original of her death certificate?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I ask the court to admit the death certificate of Rebecca Garcia as Exhibit 2.
noted and granted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, after your mother passed away in 2016, Jessica, did your father ever remarry?
No.
So at the time he passed away last year, he was a single person. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, you have signed and we have filed with the court an affidavit called proof of heirship facts. Do you have a copy of that in front of you?
Yes.
And that recites the facts of your father's marriage to your mother, that she passed away before your dad, and that during their marriage, they had one child and one child only, and that is yourself. Is that correct?
Yes.
And can you testify to the court that all of the facts that you stated in your proof of heirship facts are true and correct?
Yes.
And also, you have given me the names of 2 witnesses to testify as to the heirship facts concerning your father, and those witnesses are Enrique Garcia Jr., who is your uncle, is that right?
That's correct.
And Sylvia Garcia, who is your cousin, is that correct?
Yes.
And I have filed with the court their sworn answers to our deposition questions that were submitted on written questions, and you have reviewed those answers?
Yes.
And can you testify to the court that those answers that they've given are true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
And you have no dispute or questions or any kinds of concerns with regard to their answers, is that right?
That's correct.
Now, at the date of death, your father was a resident of Willacy County, Texas, is that right?
Yes.
And at the date of death, he did own property, including a home in Lyford and also some personal property. And did he own a vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. And the collective value of all those assets was somewhat in excess of $50,000. Is that right?
Yes.
And at the date of death, he also left some creditors that we need to deal with and to resolve in one way or another their claims against the estate. Is that right?
Yes.
So for that reason, there is a necessity for administration of this estate. Is that correct?
Yes.
And also, in your application, you have asked the court to appoint you as independent administrator without bond. And if the court should find you as the sole heir of your father, therefore you would be the sole distributee of the estate. And you, as sole distributee, agree to appointment of you as the independent administrator without bond. Do you agree with all of those statements?
Yes, I do.
And should the court appoint you as the independent administrator, you can testify that there is nothing that would disqualify you from serving as independent administrator, in that you've never been convicted of a felony, nor is there anything else that would disqualify you. Can you testify as to that?
Yes.
Your Honor, those are all the questions I have of this witness. I turn her over to Mr. Lopez for any questions he might have.
Yes, I only have one question. Jessica, you just testified that you're the only child of Gilberto J. Garcia, correct?
Correct.
And that is correct, isn't it true?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, as I stated, I have the testimony of Mr. Enrique Garcia Jr. and the testimony of Sylvia Garcia, who's both of whom have answered deposition questions under oath. And those answers have been sworn to, and they both have been filed with the court. I would like to introduce both of their answers into evidence in this cause. What process or procedure would you like me to follow, Your Honor? Would you like me to read those into evidence, or would you like me to simply ask the court to take judicial notice, or would you like me to ask the court to mark them as exhibits 3 and 4 and to admit those into evidence?
Why don't we, I'm assuming that they're not lengthy, so why don't you read them out loud, and then we can put them in as exhibits.
All right, Your Honor. I'll start with the testimony of Mr. Enrique Garcia Jr., who resides at 7892 Palm Avenue in Lyford. The first question is, please state your name and address. The answer is Enrique Garcia Jr., 7892 Palm Avenue, Lyford, Texas, 78569. Question 2, were you acquainted with Gilberto Garcia, who will be referred to as decedent? Answer, yes. Next question, are you decedent's brother? Answer, yes. Next question, did decedent die on July 30, 2020 in Cameron County, Texas? Answer, yes. Is the copy of the death certificate attached hereto as Exhibit A an exact copy of the death certificate of decedent? Answer, yes. How old was decedent on the date of his death? Answer, 70. Next question, was decedent domiciled, and did he have a fixed place of residence in Willacy County, Texas at his death? Answer, yes. Do you have an interest in this estate? Answer, no. Will you inherit anything from decedent? Answer, no. Was decedent born to Enrique Garcia and Sofia Cavazos Garcia on December 10, 1949 in Santa Monica, Texas? Answer, yes. Was decedent married to Rebecca R. Garcia? Answer, yes. Is decedent's wife, Rebecca R. Garcia, die on March 8, 2016? Answer, yes. Was this decedent's only marriage, and was he a single person when he died? Answer, yes. Did decedent have one child from his marriage to Rebecca R. Garcia? Answer, yes. Was his daughter, named Jessica Lynn Garcia, born December 29, 1981 in Raymondville, Texas? Answer, yes. Next question. Is this Jessica Lynn Garcia's residence? 13663 East 3rd Avenue, Lyford, Texas, 78569. Answer yes. Is Jessica Lynn Garcia decedent's only child? Answer yes. Is Jessica Lynn Garcia decedent's only heir? Answer yes. And then he signed those answers under oath on April 10 of 2021, Your Honor, and those answers were e-filed on May the 3rd of 2021 with the court.
Okay.
The next witness, Your Honor, is Sylvia Garcia. And if I could simply summarize, her answers to all of the questions are exactly the same, except question number 3 is, are you decedent's niece? And her answer to that is yes. Her answers to all of the other questions are the same as her father's answers, Enrique Garcia Jr. And so I offer both of those witnesses' testimony into evidence, Your Honor, and then I rest my case.
Okay. Noted and granted.
If I may, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I reviewed, as the headline item, I reviewed the obituary of Gilberto J. Garcia, also his death certificate, the death certificate of Rebecca R. Garcia, the application to determine heirship and for letters of independent administration. Also the citation by publication to the unknown heirs of Gilberto J. Garcia. And I also reviewed the 2 notice of intent to take depositions on written questions of witnesses Enrique Garcia Jr. and Sylvia Garcia. I discussed the application's contents with applicant Jessica Garcia, also known as Jessica Lynn Garcia, and also with the decedent's brother, Enrique Garcia Jr., and also with the decedent's niece, Sylvia Garcia. I also reviewed his decedent's life history and did a background check, search through being verified and the internet. Based on all the above, I concluded that Jessica Garcia, also known as Jessica Lynn Garcia, is the only heir of the decedent. I submitted my report on June the 14th, 2021, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, Mr. Lopez and I talked previous to the hearing, and we are in agreement that his attorney ad litem fees should be $500 and should be paid from the $500 that the applicant has deposited in the registry of the court.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And I have just one question for both of you, counsel. You all are experienced attorneys, and so you both made sure that whatever publications were published, if any, required by law in terms of the estate.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Right.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I'm gonna. I find no reason to disqualify. So first of all, is I do determine that Ms. Jessica Garcia is indeed the heir of the estate of Gilberto J. Garcia, and furthermore, I find no reason for her to be disqualified for being the independent administrator of the estate, and so therefore I appoint her as administrator, and also we do that without having to do a bond. So I'm going to go ahead and sign the order. I agree with the sum of $500 for Mr. Clemencio Lopez as attorney ad litem. This second. Okay, so I've signed the order, and I'm sure counsel, you're good with the county clerk for the letters of administration.
Thank you, Your Honor. We will get the oath filed as soon as possible and request the letters of independent administration. And we appreciate the court's hearing the case this morning.
Yes, and again, I don't know if yours was delayed, but I apologize. We couldn't make the system work early on. So If there was delay on yours, I apologize.
Well, I saw the case before you was seemed to be a contested hearing, so maybe I wasn't surprised. It might have taken a little bit longer than usual.
Okay. All right, then you all excuse Ms. Garcia. Anything we can help you with, you let us know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Your Honor. May we be excused, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, so this other one is for